All right, so last night I checked out Matrix Resurrection, and I want to talk about it. All right, welcome back to the DL Jones Show. I'm your host, DL Jones, and I'm going to be talking about the new movie starring Keanu Reeves, The Matrix Resurrection, which came release date on HBOMax and in theaters. I watched it on HBOMax, and I want to tell you right up front, I got kind of two feelings about this movie. For one thing, I had fun with this movie. It was enjoyable, but I also was a bit disappointed. And I'll get into that in a little bit about, my thoughts on this movie. First, let's go over the synopsis. What is this movie about? How in the world did they make a new movie on this story? According to IMDb, the synopsis says, return to a world of two realities. One, everyday life. The other, what lies behind it. To find out if his reality is a construct, to truly know himself, Mr. Anderson will have to choose to follow the White Rabbit once more. And basically, yeah, that's basically the movie. So what happens is, the movie starts off, I think it takes place like 60 years later than the events of the last Matrix trilogy. Neo, he's still in this world. He still pretty much looks the same. He's a little bit older, but he's not 60 years older, according to the timeline of the movie, which, he looks like Keanu Reeves does today, So basically, he's living in this world. He's Thomas Anderson again. He doesn't remember anything that happened in the past. He doesn't remember all of this kind of stuff. All he knows is that he's in this world. He's a video game developer, and the game that he made is basically The Matrix and is based on the events of his previous life, But he doesn't know. He just thinks it's something he's made up. He got a crush on this girl that he sees from time to time, which is Trinity. He don't know her as Trinity. He knows her as, I don't think he knows her at all. He just has a crush on her. But it starts off with some people that's in the Matrix, new characters. They have already been released from the Matrix and stuff, and they're watching some events unfold that is sort of like a repeat of what we saw in the very first Matrix, but with a different person. And then halfway through that, the story changes, and when that changes, they go start investigating and looking into it and wondering what's going on. And during that, they end up finding out where Neo is. And I guess throughout this whole time, they had been kind of looking for Neo. People didn't know if he was alive. People didn't know if he was dead. He was kind of hidden in the Matrix, and they had been looking for him. So they find out where he is and they release him. And the whole thing starts all over again. I'm not going to go into too much about everything that goes on in the movie. You have to watch it. But yeah, it was kind of enjoyable. They pulled on a lot of nostalgia, kind of repeated a lot of the same things that happened in the first movie, and kind of gave you an update on what was going on with Zion, which no longer exists, and there's a new city that everybody live in, and they got a new outlook on things. Come to find out, after the events of the first Matrix trilogy, they kind of have like a truce with the machines, and some machines actually have become sentient and think for themselves and are helping them. But there's a lot of different things that's different that they kind of update you on. None of it I thought was really all that interesting. One thing that I come for, that I want to see in a Matrix movie, are the fight scenes, and they had them. They had the fight scenes, they had the shootouts, they had a lot of the special effects, and they were interesting. But you know what? The thing about the first Matrix movie, when I saw the first Matrix movie, it felt special. A lot of things you saw on screen as far as the special effects and the fight scenes, they felt special. And a lot of the reasons why they felt special was because a lot of this was the first time you're seeing it. Somebody walking up against the wall, a lot of the wire fu action scenes. You've seen that kind of stuff in like Hong Kong movies and stuff with lower budget and lower special effects. But in The Matrix, it was done in an American movie with a high special effects budget, and it was just awesome. It was the first time a lot of people seen this in this type of movie, and a lot of the stuff was just groundbreaking, and a lot of movies since then have taken on and done their versions of the things that we see. So now it's not new anymore. So when you watch these movies, while the action scenes are cool, they aren't groundbreaking like it felt in the first Matrix movie. And I don't fault them for that. I don't fault them for that. It's not their fault that everybody has done it now and it's not groundbreaking anymore. But it was still cool to see some of the stuff, the wall walking and a lot of the the way they shoot the guns and the slow motion and all of that kind of. It was cool to see that stuff again. And I'm not saying that that's the bad part of it. It's just that the overall story and everything, it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed disappointing. You know, while I did have some fun watching it and I enjoyed the action scenes and stuff like that, I thought the story was crazy, but the story of The Matrix has always been crazy. Always kind of been the type of story that would make you roll your eyes when certain things happen. It's always been like that, you know. It's just that at first it was the first time we were seeing that, so it seemed cool. But then after you think about it for a while, it's all like eye rolling exposition. But yeah, it just, I mean, I enjoyed it, but I was kind of disappointed. I guess that my expectations was too high, which I really didn't have high expectations, but I just figured that it was going to be a better movie than it is, you know. And I don't know. I mean, it's worth a watch. Check it out. I would say watch it. It's fun, but I just disappointed, and I can't really, other than just saying that I feel like it should be a better movie than it is. I can't really pinpoint why it's not, other than it's just, I don't know. I guess they just didn't have, I guess it's just hard to do, you know, because a lot of things with the first Matrix that made that Matrix good was that they were showing us things we've never seen before, you know. And we've seen a lot of this stuff since then, a million times. And I guess it's hard to do that again, you know, unless you're able to come up with new things we've never seen before, which they didn't. And I guess that's it. You know, the only way you can get around that is come up with a really outstanding story, which they didn't come up with a really outstanding story. It was just a serviceable story. So yeah, I mean, it was fun. It's worth a watch, but I'm like, just a little bit disappointed because I was kind of expecting more. But yeah, I'd say check it out. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it because it's about that kind of movie, you know. I think it's probably going to have mixed reviews. I haven't looked at other reviews yet, but I'm guessing it's going to have mixed reviews. You're going to have a lot of people, I think, who feel just like I do about this movie. You've probably already watched a bunch of videos with people probably expressing the same basic thing that I'm saying here. But yeah, but that's The Matrix Resurrection. It's worth a watch. Go check it out. Pretty good action scene, serviceable story, but a little bit disappointing. And that's really all I have to say about it. But once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.